Fuck your bean.
What's going on, you guys? Fight week. It's finally fight week. Errol the Big Fish Troop Spence Jr. returns against your Dennis Ugas in a welterweight unification fight. The fight that we all been waiting for. But at first, there was a lot of backlash when this fight got announced, right? Fans was pretty upset that this fight was made in place of a fight with Terrence Crawford. But now fans learned since then, as weeks went on, to learn to accept this matchup. And it's a really good one. Hit that like button for your boy. Give me that HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special. We're in the road to 15,000 subscribers. But Errol Spence Jr. makes his return against Dennis Ugas. And Dennis Ugas, as we know, had a lot of momentum going into this fight with Errol Spence Jr., coming off a big win over Manny Pacquiao. Say what you want about Manny Pacquiao. Going into that fight, not too many people was giving Dennis Ugas a chance. Now, all of a sudden, Manny Pacquiao is an old man, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But now in comes Errol Spence Jr., the guy that was originally supposed to face Manny Pacquiao. And Errol Spence Jr., in that camp with Manny Pacquiao, didn't necessarily look his best, right? He didn't look his best. He didn't look strong. He didn't look nowhere near like he does now, right? Going into that fight with Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence Jr. looked like a dead man. He didn't look good. He didn't look strong. He didn't look healthy. So the fight ended up getting scrapped due to his eye injury, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We know how that story went, right? But Errol Spence Jr. in that camp didn't look strong as he do now. Right here in this picture you see here, he looked really skinny, gaunt, didn't look strong, like he had no strength going into that fight. But now we see Errol Spence Jr., he's looking strong, and he's looking like he's in top form. And at that open workout, you'll be seeing he looked like he was firing on all cylinders. Say what you want about his style. If you're a guy who's not too fond of his more basic approach to boxing, right? His very fundamentally sound style. Say what you want, he's really good at the fundamentals. And he was firing them on all cylinders. So, yeah, Errol Spence Jr. looked to be in top form. He looked focused. And he looked like he's out here to prove a point, right? But Dennis Ugas, the opponent, the guy that I would say he's used to being an underdog, right? Dennis Ugas is used to being an underdog in fights. Every fight he's been in with the guys more popular than he was the underdog. Dennis Ugas is always going to be the underdog. Dennis the underdog Ugas. And going into this fight, I felt that he had some things going for him. Of course, he is active. He got momentum from the Pacquiao win. He got a lot of confidence, right? He's a guy who's been at the bottom, and now he's back at the top. So he knows what it's like to lose, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And another thing that I thought that he had going for him in this fight was his hunger. I felt that Dennis Ugas was really hungry to prove, hungry to do great things, right? Be the first Cuban fighter to fight for 3 belts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of things that come for Ugas if he beats Errol Spence Jr. But I'm hearing things behind the scenes, right? It's contrast to what I believed. I'm hearing that he ain't as hungry, even as the guy that told me this, right? He thought Ugas was going to be hungry, but he's been in gym with him and he's been watching. And yeah, he's been watching. And I'll just say that, okay? You get what I'm saying. And yeah, I know originally I had Dennis Ugas, but I'm leaning towards Errol Spence Jr. now. As of right now, I'm leaning towards Spence. Now, I was going to wait to the Friday, the weigh-in day, to get my official pick, right? Just so I could see the energy, see how these guys look on the scales, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm leaning towards Errol Spence Jr. now. As of right now, I'm leaning towards Spence, man. I really liked what I saw from Errol Spence Jr., right? I really liked what I saw from him. I liked that. I seen that he's motivated, right? It seemed like he's taking this thing seriously once again, like he was back in the day before the fame and the hype and everything got to his head, right? Before all that stuff happened, Errol Spence Jr. Was what I've been seeing recently, right? Just focused on boxing and doing what he got to do. Because really, let's be honest, Errol Spence Jr., like he said, he wasted enough time and he ain't got that much time left. So he will have to make the best of this little bit of time that he got. And I must be honest, Errol Spence Jr. looks phenomenal going into this fight. He looks really strong. He looks like he's going to be a problem based off just how he looks. He looks a lot better than he did in previous fights, right? So whatever he got going on in camp with this new guy, they maybe got him right. Making the weight healthy. He looked really strong in the workouts, even in the footage that we've been seeing. He's looking fast. He's looking sharp. So yeah, it's gonna be a really good fight, man. Interesting fight. I know Errol Spence, his super fans are on edge because you just don't know how your guy's gonna look. You don't know if he's gonna look good. And then of course there's the Terrence Crawford thing, right? Of course, Terrence Crawford will be an interesting week to say the least. This whole week should be pretty interesting. It's a big week for boxing. Errol Spence Jr., one of the biggest names in the sport, is going to be returning against Ugas Ugas, man. It's gonna be a tough fight. It should be a good fight. And yeah, I must admit, man, Errol Spence Jr. looks good, man. He looks good. This is what I've been wanting to see from this guy. You know what I'm saying? This is what I've been wanting to see from him. And now he's talking right. You know, he's not saying this foolishness that his fans like him saying. He's talking right. You know, he's talking like, you know, of course he has to get past Ugas, so he don't want to say too much, right? You don't want to disrespect the guy. You don't want to put jinx yourself and totally overlook a guy. So, but you still want to tell the people what they want to hear, and he's been telling us what we want to hear for the most part. I understand he got a big fight. He want to stay focused on Ugas first. You don't want to get distracted by Terrence Crawford when you got a task like Ugas in front of you. Despite what I feel or heard about Ugas, may not being as hungry as I thought, I still expect him to put up a hell of a fight. You just can't overlook Ugas Ugas, and I don't think he's overlooking Ugas. Of course, fans are going to ask questions as to Terrence Crawford. And of course, that comes with the territory. That's what that's what they're supposed to do. They want to see the big fight. That's the big fight. And it'll be unfortunate after this fight, however it plays out, that we don't get to see Terrence Crawford into the ring and continue this storyline. Because that's what the people want to see from boxing. That's what people want to see from boxers, right? We fight the guy, right? We get the belts. Now we go to the next one, the big one. And then you get these two guys in the ring, you get some pictures taken, get some videos recorded, and all this shit, and you start promoting this fight between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. or Terrence Crawford and maybe Ugas Ugas, right? We still can't overlook Ugas Ugas in this fight. We just don't know. There's still a few things we don't know about Spence. His punch resistance. Is his punch resistance still there? It should be, right? I'm thinking at this point, if Errol Spence Jr. made it this far through camp and everything else, they had to make sure this guy was well prepared to deal with this fight. So I'm assuming Errol Spence is all good. I'm sure his durability should be intact, right? That's another question a lot of people was asking. How is Errol Spence durability? Will his eye hold up? Those type of things. And those are legitimate questions and concerns. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of questions answered this weekend, man. I'm excited for this fight week. You know, the big fish, man. He's part of the story, right? He's part of this storyline. He's one of the main characters in the story. And we're gonna see if he can get the job done. You know, we're gonna see if Errol Spence Jr. can get the job done against Ugas Ugas. I like Errol Spence Jr., man. I do. You know, it may not seem like that, but I was just a critic. I was critic. I expected more, right? I want to see better. I want to see him do better. I expected more. You know what I'm saying? I see the talent and I see the potential and I see the buzz he got, the resources that he has. I expected more. And then when you come out here downplaying your rival, the biggest fight in boxing between him and Crawford, downplaying right, it left a bad taste in my mouth. Okay, but moving forward, I'm going to wipe everything off the table with a clean slate with this guy, right? With Errol Spence Jr. You know what I'm saying? He seemed like he's rededicated to the sport. He seemed, you know, life happens, right? Life happens. You know what I'm saying? We watching this guy's journey, and I'm rooting for him. You know what I'm saying? I'm rooting for him as a man. You know what I'm saying? He has some ups and downs, and he found his way back up to the top, and now he's got to go ahead on top of the mountain and prove himself against another guy who in a different sense was at the bottom, and then he raised himself to the top. And we go see who's going to be remaining at the top after April 16th. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.